Southern World.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode / edition / installment of Free Thinkers. One of the Free Thinkers, Q. Got Denise with me. Got Nikki probably there. And if you hit the link, then you will be on too with us. What does that mean? That means this is open to the people. We do this for the people. So if you're watching on YouTube, you probably got to go to our Facebook link and ask us for the link, and we'll give it to you if you can't find it. And then if you've never been on StreamYard before, just click on this. It's pretty simple. Just click on the link and it'll give you some very simple instructions. Even my mother has been able to get on StreamYard. If my mom and dad can do it, then that definitely means it's doable for everybody. So Free Thinkers is just it's a community, it's a group, it's a movement of people who are striving to learn more about themselves, learn more about the world and how they interact with others. So if you've never been on before, just keep in mind that we do that's what we strive for. Free thinking. There is adult content and adult language. This is not a censored show. So keep that in mind and just be mindful of the ears who are around when you're listening. If there's somebody who you may not want to hear certain type of language, make sure you also have something in your ears so the sound doesn't bleed and echo and things like that. Just basic stuff. And then just come and be free. You in a safe space. At least you are with us. I can't speak for how Meta gonna take it. Meta may be offended by some things you say, but with us, all you're gonna get from us is you just gonna get some questions. Anything that you think or believe or stand on, we just gonna question it. We agree, we'll disagree, we'll question it, we'll break it down, and we will reevaluate once we've done those things. So tonight, just be open and honest with you. Nikki and I debated. We were both very tired. And we'd be like, and I'd just be like, I try to save the times that we skip for times that I just physically can't do it. So me being tired as hell is not the overall excuse for not doing the show. So, but we are going to do a condensed version. So that's why I started right on time. And we're going to go 30, 45 minutes tops, and then we out of there. Now, mind you, we say that and it don't always happen, but I'm pretty sure.
I was literally telling the kids that. I was like, we're supposed to be short tonight. I said, but we'll probably fucking go till midnight.
No, we're not. And you know
I
what?
know.
I'm gonna tell you why too. I'm gonna tell you because I already timed this gummy down, and this gummy gonna hit a certain point in time. So I got
in a minute it's gonna be over when it kick in.
45 minutes, an hour. I can't go longer than an hour, otherwise you will
I'll be curious to see what happens at the 60-minute mark.
So yeah, with that, Denise has something. I ain't want to leave Denise out after we done had a nice live in-person conversation.
We did. Shout out to everybody who joined us for our second last Tuesday of the month.
That was fun. I enjoyed that.
It was great last week. It was really good. And there was so many people who reached out afterwards. They're like, I'm so sorry. I tried. I wanted to. I'm gonna be better.
You ain't got to be sorry if you ain't. We running it regardless. It's good.
Good food.
The thing about the in-person meetings, I ain't gonna speak for Nikki, but I will invite 15 to 20 people in hopes that 5 to 6 show up.
Right.
Yeah, because you
Because
guys are
even
looking
after you
forward.
get there's so many people, you get so many people, then the conversation is not, or it was just a good number, and it was organic. We was yelling and fussing at each other. I just felt
Yeah,
so
we were. It was super crunk.
like, Nikki, that's not true, Nikki. That's not true.
That's when you know it's good. When we argue,
It's
it's
good.
Oh,
good.
and it wasn't even it was so much arguing. It's just I made a lot of very loud points last week, and
I wasn't
I just wanted to make
loud.
sure it was her. That was her. I appreciate y'all for hearing me.
No, I don't. No, I don't think you was being no louder than anybody else. It was just a
I thought about
difference
it. I was
of
like, damn, I wonder if
perspective.
anybody driving up to this food truck courtyard, because it's an outdoor food truck courtyard. And if you don't know where you're going, you'd be like, where the fuck am I? Where is this? Like, it's just dark, right? But we're at the very back of this food truck lot. And so, like, I just wondered how many people maybe drove up there, like going to another food truck, and we're like, what the fuck is going on in there? They are really passionate about this conversation because there's no walls. It's covered with some really nice, like sheathing, I guess, but you can hear us probably in the street. So it's amazing. Like it's crazy how it's literally our second one back in person after 4 years, basically.
Wow.
And like the first one was like, I think just getting it back into my blood.
Mm-hmm.
Second one, I was like, fuck, this is it.
That's how I felt. I'm like, yes, here it is. Here we go.
Yeah. And I
That's how I
love
felt.
that, I mean, like, so last week we had somebody who's been following us for years, who's never been in person, show up their first time. And then of course, Smack showed up too. So it's like we had some old timers, we had some new school folks, and then of course people who were there at the food truck came in to eat, and they were like, shit, I'm trying to get in on this conversation. So people came in, sat down, and it was so people that we didn't know at all. They were just like, oh shit, these people are having a very passionate conversation about some interesting stuff. And it was. I mean, we were loud. It was so great. So it's all I can ever hope that when people leave on a Tuesday like that in person, that they leave and they're like, damn, I literally just sat here like 5 feet away from people who had conversation that I've been dying to have, or just an intellect that I've been trying to get into.
Right.
It didn't even know that something existed because it's not a bar, it's not a club, it's not, it's just a spot that we were gifted by a friend of ours and a friend of the show who was like, this would be perfect for y'all. And it's totally been perfect so far. It is literally what
And
we
that
are.
salmon taco was amazing.
Oh my God.
Goodness
Yes,
gracious,
the food is to die for. And Q, he doesn't make that. Like those are not regular. Like the stuff he's made the last two for us, like all the seafood.
Really?
Those are not like his regular
That's not on the
items.
menu.
Like
That's the special stuff. Okay.
Aw.
so he had some grilled
good.
salmon tacos for us last week. And then of course he does have traditional barbecue, and it's phenomenal. Like it's phenomenal. It's the only time I ever cheat, and I cheated the fuck out of some meat last week. I definitely had some brisket. I did, and I didn't feel bad about it at all.
You
My
should.
girl called me the next day and she goes, this shit's good even day 2. I said, yes, ma'am. So I mean, where else can you get fed mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you know what I'm saying, on a Tuesday night for free, So join us. So I don't have my phone, and well, my phone is what's recording, but I don't have my calendar in front of me. So whatever the last Tuesday of June is, that will be our next in-person up at the food truck. But of course, we'll have more details as the month goes on. So yeah, hard to it's not hard to come back from that, but it's such an interesting flip. I think I got so used to virtual for so long that then being in person, and it was like, oh shit, like okay, it's different.
Yeah,
but equally wonderful.
Yeah, true that. We bring we bring the natural feel to the virtual world too, because we be talking like ain't nobody else listening. So it's
I know, but I think that's what happens after you do this for so long.
Yep.
But then you really don't know. But you don't realize until like you literally look at metrics. You're like, oh shit, there was a lot of people actually watching. Like just when you think nobody's really paying attention, you're like, oh, there was 78 people watching this shit. Like who was watching and wasn't saying anything?
But you know what? See, and the key is, I try to live my life as if someone's always watching, even when I'm by
Right.
myself. If you live your
Right.
life as if someone's
Right.
always watching, then it number one, it works on your transparency, and number two, it keeps you mindful in a true space. Like,
Yeah.
what is it that
Good way to
I'm
say
doing
that.
or I'm not doing just because someone is or isn't watching? Like,
Right.
why would I operate differently when nobody's watching versus when they are? Why don't you
Right.
just operate as if someone's always watching? And then that may curb you from doing certain things, or it may teach you to come to grips with who you are in other ways. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just one thing that I try to practice in my quest for transparency that I have not, which I'll probably never achieve, honestly.
You don't think
No, not at all. I am too accountable to my circle.
but transparency goes with accountability though. And true
No,
accountability is being transparent. So they totally can
it's
go hand in
levels.
hand.
It's levels. So, like, for instance, I was using a whole lot of 4-letter words last week in ways that I probably in ways that I won't do live
Of
because
course.
I'm accountable to my
Mhm.
parents, aunts, uncles, people who raised me, and people who that's not their thing. So if I don't have to do it, then I'm mindful to monitor. It's like, it ain't like you never hear me cuss online, but
Right.
I monitor how much or to what extent that I do.
Yes.
Now, if you see
It's
me
good
and ain't no
somebody on the
cameras
show
rolling,
does. I'm proud of you.
and that's why I be like, y'all think Nikki the cousin, man. Y'all see me when the cameras ain't rolling. Shoot.
In person, it's funny because I thought that last week. I was like, he's on a roll.
That's just
I love it.
normally me though. That's just, but that's one of the things where I calm certain things down because I want to be respectful to those who raised me.
Of course.
Yeah. So today, Denise has some a good thought about existential questions.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know what existential mean. Every time somebody have like a 4-syllable word, I got to go look it up. Like, existential.
It took me forever to think of the word. I was like, what does it mean when you're like thinking about life and stuff and you're just like really like introspective, but you're trying to think, like, I was like, what is, and I like looked that up on Google because I couldn't remember the word. It's like existential. And I can give it like a proper definition before we start.
So
It says,
Denise,
go ahead,
do you
pull it
have
up?
any you want to start off with, or I can just start with the basics that I grabbed straight off of Google.
Can we define existential first? Hold on.
I'll let you.
Well, you're probably pulling up the worst fucking definitions. Somehow my definitions are always bad. However, the existential definition that I pulled up was an adjective. The first one is of relating to or affirming existence. The second is grounded in existence or the experience of existence. And then the third one is having being in time and space.
I get it.
I pull up the worst definitions every time we go for definitions. So if you got something else, what is yours say?
It sounds deep, but it's almost like it's just saying like
being, existing.
Being, but almost like looking at yourself in third person almost, and kind of
yes,
like stepping outside of yourself and looking at yourself, at the world, at how things, like you just stand back, or if you were looking at, you know, the earth as one of the little snow globes, like you take yourself out, not out of the equation, but you just put, I don't know how to say it, but you're just looking at it, you're observing it from outside of your normal viewpoint. I don't know, you kind of looking at it broader, wider, more generalistic.
Let me read this one too. This is interesting. So this one says, relating to a philosophy, system of ideas, according to which the world has no meaning and each person is alone and completely responsible for his or her own actions. An existential argument or philosopher, a novel of existential dread. Like, those are some of the examples that it gave. But I was like, whoa, this gets this gets so interesting and deep. Like the word existential is a deep word in my opinion, but it's interesting how I still don't feel like I have the clearest definition of what the word existential really is. By reading both of
I've
these, I'm
already
still kind of like,
simplified this in my mind years ago. So this is all of these questions are easy for me because I've
right.
Floating through space.
created
It
answers
sounds
for
like
myself.
it
Long
almost
time ago.
sounds like the questions, like existential questions, sound like the questions, like if you believe in God, when you get to heaven, what you would ask. Like to me, that's like a good base level of how you would maybe ask a existential question.
Oh, dang. Hey. Oh, hold on. Let's stop. Let's start right there. Because that's
Okay.
a darn good question. I won't say damn good when I'm talking about God. But what if you were to meet God and you got 3 questions,
Oh,
what would you ask God?
what's up with all the pain? Like why was that part necessary in life? You know, like why?
Dang.
why do people
I
even
always
have
look at that. You watched The Matrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know Agent Smith was talking, I think he was talking to Morpheus about them doing different versions of the Matrix. And basically they were saying, we gave you a beautiful utopia where everything was perfect and it was fine. And he was like, the crops didn't grow, meaning the people who they were harvesting, you wouldn't grow, you didn't respond to it. You only responded to chaos and rumors of wars and tension. It's like, that's the only way that you thrive when everything is perfect. Dang. And you know what's kind of crazy? You see that a lot of times. I see that in relationships oftentimes when things are too perfect and there's no conflict, a lot of time people will check out, especially women. I see that a lot. Like, no, he just bored. Then you get called boring a lot of times. It's like, it's not until you done actually went through enough stuff and you hit a certain age, you be like, no, I know what the drama like and I don't want that no more. But anyway, what's your thought about that?
Oh, about people needing
Do you
to
ever
be
think about
entertained?
why there's like, if you had to speak on behalf of God and somebody, wanted like, hey, so why is there so much suffering? What would be your guesstimation as to why the suffering?
I would say, why do you think that suffering is bad? Why do you associate that with negativity? Why can't that just be a feeling? Why does it have to be a bad thing that you feel these things?
Are you saying why does a person have to feel those things, or
no, like why is it like, so for instance, like death, why does losing someone or someone dying have to feel, why do we have to think of it as a loss? Why does losing something have to be a negative feeling? Why is that even a thing in the first place? Like, you lost.
But do you believe that the reaction to loss, because think about even loss as a child. I mean, if you can really think back that far, but just imagine, right? As a child, I feel like this is a natural response. When loss happens, your natural response is to feel sadness, right? As a child, that's not an ingrained emotion yet, right? As an adult, society has told us how to fucking feel, right? But as a kid, until you've been gone to school and church, and depending on like what your village looks like or whatever, like you may not have had feelings built into you as opposed to you responding to them naturally. So do you think that, so to the question of why do we have to feel that way regarding loss, do you think that the response to loss is a natural feeling, or do you think that it's like a programmed feeling?
I think it's more
It's
nurture
natural,
than it is
absolutely.
nature.
Okay, yeah.
What'd you say, Q?
I think it's absolutely natural.
I think it's more nurture than anything. I think most of this stuff is environmental. I think most something that has been taught to us. Like
Is that me or
explaining
Denise?
huh?
I think my internet about to go out. I'm probably gonna have to reset
I don't
it.
know who it is, but Denise is flashing and
Oh, is it me? Are we getting too deep? You know the spirits are moving, y'all. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you, but it's a lot of
you.
choppiness. I
I
don't know who
agree
it
with
is.
you at a certain stage of life, but I think as a child where you're still innocent and haven't been fucking ruined yet by adults in society, that you still have that natural response to loss is a sad feeling. As somebody who's older, and society has programmed you with how you're supposed to feel and how you're supposed to feel about certain things, and blah, 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 blah. I think that's where some of the manufactured emotions can come into play, for sure. But you don't think that as little children, that's natural?
No, because kids, if you try to explain death to a kid, like explaining death to a young kid, like a really young kid, like 5
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, they don't receive that info. I don't think they receive that information the same. I remember being
No.
sad when I was like around 8, but I think like 5 and below, trying to explain that to them, I don't think they receive that information the same way.
Right.
Well, number
Right.
one, because they don't truly understand the concept of time.
Loss or loss.
But they don't understand loss, but they do feel it. Let you have a 3, 4, 5-year-old, and they're used to seeing you every day, and all of a sudden, I told you I did when I used to do my lab rat stuff. I did a study I was going for a whole month, and my son he was probably 2 or 3 at the time, and he was used to seeing me every day. And when I came back, he would not speak to me. Like, he was upset with me bad. I tried to give him a hug, like, "Oh, come here." He leaned away. He didn't speak at me. He wouldn't look at me directly, but he would not leave my sight for like a week. I could not take out the trash without him holding on to my shorts, like, "No, wherever you're going, I'm going with you." Like,
Right, because I know where you went this last time, but you didn't come
I
back.
don't know where you went. So he
How old
couldn't
was he?
comprehend it. He was like 2 or 3. 2 or 3.
3.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
But think
I was
about
like, I'll never
a
do something
child
that
that
long
loses a
again.
puppy or a child that loses a pet, right? Like, they cry when you flush their fucking goldfish down the toilet. They cry when the hamster dies. They cry when the dog runs away and doesn't come back. Like, I think, hell, nobody knows what it feels like until it actually happens, right? But like, I feel like even as little people, if babies cry when their mom puts them down and they walk out of their sight.
With that being
Because
said, do
I
you
think
think
at the
that
moment they
people
don't understand what it means that this person is never coming back at the moment.
Right, you're coming back.
So the day
Right.
that the parent dies or something like that, they don't understand, or they can't comprehend that, like, I'm
Not
never going to
coming
see him
back.
again. You can tell them daddy went to heaven or this, and okay, whatever that means. Like, they're like, okay. But over time, it's like, okay, where's this person at? I'm
Right.
used to seeing this person every day. And either they will ask you, or they'll abruptly start crying, or they'll have a hard time sleep. Like, they feel the loss even though they don't know how to describe it.
Right.
So that's nature to me.
do you think that okay, so you know how a mother puts her child down, the kid starts crying. Do you think that a lot of our sadness and crying just comes from not being able to verbalize what's happening or even understanding what's happening?
Absolutely.
It's just confusion.
That's how the body releases the emotions that you feel, that you don't know what they are. You don't know how to channel them, call them, harness them. Like, you don't know what they are, but they got to fucking leave somehow. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And and that's why a lot of times
And
when kids start
crying.
talking, huh?
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead. I got a lag. Go ahead.
Oh, saying that's why, like, when kids start talking, or even let's say you take some children who are nonverbal, and they start to learn sign language, and they can communicate with fucking people. They don't have to have fits like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to cry and scream and, communicate in nonverbal ways that only make sense to them, that the other people don't know what that means. So when there's when a deaf kid gets a hearing aid and they can hear and communicate, when a fucking blind person has some visual, improvement, so the ability to be able to communicate oftentimes will change what you might
Right.
consider like problematic behavior, because that's the only way that that person could communicate at that time. Communication changes everything, man.
Yeah, it
Being
does.
able to
And
communicate changes everything.
I know that for a fact because my youngest daughter, we know that she's on the spectrum. She hasn't been diagnosed yet, but she says words, but she doesn't communicate, and she gets frustrated when she can't fully tell you what it is that she crying in the background right now because she's frustrated.
And she knows
But
what
when
she's saying, but she can't get it
right,
out. Yeah.
she
Yeah.
a lot of that, and in a lot of instances, she'll just grab your hand and take you to
Told you
where it
what
is
she's
that
trying to
she
get you to
wants or what
do.
she wants you to do. But in the instance where she can't do that or can't communicate it, then she'll get real frustrated. And I was gonna say, not even kids. I learned that as an adult. It's not just
Hell yeah.
sadness and crying, but it also comes out in anger. I was a very angry
Yes.
person
Yeah.
because I had not learned how to properly communicate or express what I'm feeling at the time. So it always came out in some type of anger or rage, or I'm just frustrated all the time because I hadn't learned how to use my words. It's like they say, kids, use your words.
You tell your kids, use your words. Yeah.
Right.
Do y'all think if you knew, which is going to lead me into another question, if
Let's
you
go.
knew what happened after death, that you would be sad about it when it happened?
Not as much. I don't think so. I think it's the unknown that really heightens that the fear and the aloneness and the grief. I think that the unknown, when you go to the other side, you believe that you'll see for those who believe that, you believe it, but you don't know it.
Right.
So is it safe to say that maybe the unknown is the root to a lot of our
Absolutely.
emotions?
Think about this. Okay,
Yeah.
so think about this. Let me give you an example. What if when a person passed or they died, just their physical body died, but somehow you could still talk to them on the other side or whatever? You wouldn't feel as bad. You still be okay when you could reach out and be like, oh, what does it feel like?
Connection
How is
still
it?
exists.
Do you have a new body, or are you just a spirit now? Like you be asking questions, but you're able to talk to and communicate. So that feeling of absolute loss is not gonna be there because you still have communication with them.
Yeah.
I had hoped that after my dad passed, like I would have that experience. Like I would be able to like somehow feel like communication was still taking place. And I don't know if that time will come, but like I've told my kids, so like since they were little, like when I die, I'm not gone. Like if there's a way that I can control how I can communicate to you, I guarantee you the etching on the mirror when you get out of the shower, that's some weird ass shit, that's me. Like I'm going to communicate somehow. And so yeah, there's obviously loss involved. It's a different kind of loss, I think. But to your question, would I be sad if I knew what happened after death? I guess depends on what happens. I guess kind of like what Q said. Like if it's just a black hole and it's fucking nothing forever now, that would make me sad. And honestly, that is probably one of my fears, not of dying, but just the thought of dying to me is like, if it's over when it's over, like this can't fucking be it, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe I'm gonna I don't believe I'm gonna see people in the afterlife. I don't know what the afterlife looks like. I don't know where you go. Like I don't know what happens. I don't have a belief of where you go after you die. But the thought of it being nothing does not feel good to me. So if there's this afterlife, doesn't have to be heaven, but if there's this place that spirits go, gangsta party in the sky that you go, and whether it's just spirits or it's spirits and bodies of people that have passed, I don't know. I would like to believe that maybe that place exists because it feels good, but I don't think I'd want to know what happens though either. I would rather live my life not knowing than knowing what happens. Just like we talked about once, would you want to know when or how you die? I don't want to know when or how I die.
I think this is the intelligence of God, because if we did know on the what was on the other side for us, we'd be more willing to check out here when things got rough. But our
Yeah.
fear of not knowing what's
Yeah.
really on the other side, even through struggle, even through pain and heartbreak and all of, and the loss of other ones that we love,
Right.
since the fear of the unknown still, let me ride this out.
Right. Not
True.
quite sure.
It's like your senior year of high school. Like you get senioritis because you know it's coming to an end, and like
Yeah.
when you
Right.
know things are coming to an end, you're just not as present,
And,
and the
oh
unknown
my
allows you to
goodness.
be
So
present.
Denise,
It was a Black Mirror episode. We talked about that one.
well, hold on, Denise. What you were saying is, I don't even think it's like, even with high school, junior, I don't think they even feel the same way now because of social media. It's like, yeah, I'm going here, you going here, but we still keep in contact the same way. You
Right.
remember back in the day, like
That was it.
once
You
we
better
let
write a
out,
letter.
like we
You better
going
write a letter
separate
or
ways.
you
I
can
don't know
go
when we gonna see each other, how we gonna keep in touch, or what's going.
Christmas.
Like, it was a different feeling of loss when you graduated and everybody was parting their different ways. I cried
You
for
Yeah.
really went
weeks when
separate
I moved to
ways.
Austin.
Right.
Yeah, and it was like, I'm completely out of touch. The people who I was the closest to, I don't really, I don't really know what they're doing. It's funny. Even when you don't smoke, you still start coughing.
No, you
Same way.
talked about that last week. I was like,
The
how
cough
you
still
ever get
comes.
off and you're not even smoking?
That's crazy. That cough
I
still
ain't
comes.
never.
It still comes.
That is
Yeah,
hilarious.
but it's crazy. But that's an example of how, even when you know that you don't have the same fear because you know how to contact the person on the other side.
Yeah.
Right.
So even I'd be afraid to die, but if I knew once I passed, I could still reach out to my wife and my kids and tell them, hey, it's gonna be all right, and like speak to them and let them know what's going on. But when you go over and they don't know what happened, they don't know how it happened, you don't get the last words were just random. You don't get to just say your final farewell goodbye letter that you want. Hey, whatever you said, it could I get the salami on the way back. That could have been your last words and like, you never know what's gonna be your last words. So you gonna handle it. I think you'd handle it. I think God designs it that way. And that's what motivates us. The fear of I think, and I said this in another episode we did. If we lived for 1,000 years versus 100 years, we wouldn't have the same sense of urgency to get things accomplished that we do now.
Right. True.
Okay,
Denise might not
I
even
want to
have
double.
Denise might not even
True.
get that album finished for another 200 years because she was like, I got time. But when you
I want.
on the clock and you like, I got stuff to get done.
Right.
That's so true, but I think there's also another way of looking at that where it's like, well, if I have more time, I have more room for mistakes. It's like we talked about on one of the episodes before about when we're younger and we're dating. You just do more. You make more mistakes. You're okay with staying in situations longer, and when you feel like you're on the clock, things change. So it's like, maybe I would make more mistakes because, like, what's 36 when can live to 1,000? Like, I'm still a toddler.
You're a fucking infant.
Right.
So maybe
Right, yeah.
maybe I take more risk. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I would make a crazier album because I had more time. So it's like, it depends on how you view time.
Right. And I think some people would, like, I might, instead of just going on vacation, oh yeah, I think I'm gonna go to Italy for about 15 years and I might come back. Like, I wouldn't think of that now because it's like, that's, I got to be close to my family and my loved ones. But if we all live into 1,000, okay, I spend 20 years just going some random place and learning a new language. Like, you time is gonna be different.
Yeah.
But I think that's the time, and we still, as far off as we still seem like we're veering, we still on the same original thing as far as asking God, why. But I think pain, I think death all creates a sense of urgency and ignites a fire, and it gives us a timeline that we normally wouldn't have had we not. So I think actually pain and death actually forces us to live a more potentially fulfilling life.
Wow. Wow. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I guess depending on who you are, it could go either way. It could motivate you to live a more fulfilling life, or it could absolutely motivate
Mhm.
you to do not a fucking thing and just let the clock run.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's kind of a balance of both for me because I want to
it
get a lot
is.
done, but then at the same time, I'll be like, man, I'm on my way out. And because you'll hear me a lot of times be like, I ain't got enough time for all of that. Like all of this stuff that people trying to learn, and I'm like, look, I'm not gonna be around long enough for that. So it can't be relevant to me because I don't have enough time for it to matter. You'll
At
hear me
what
say both
age
things
did
too.
you realize that, Q? Like, because I'm 45, so I think I know I'm older than you. I'm about to be 46. So, like, at what age did it occur to you that, like, this is my last half? Like, some people be in denial up to their 50s. Like, you're not, I mean, you're not pushing 50 yet. You're definitely on the lower end of 40 here. So, at what age do you feel like it set into you that my time is shorter than it is longer?
A couple things. Number one, when you're dealing with sports, like I was very big in sports and playing basketball and running track, and you start
Oh yeah, you talked about that last
realizing
week.
your mortality early, like even in your
Yeah.
late 20s, when you start aching and you start feeling like, ooh, what is this what feeling old gets like? Because
Right.
you never really felt that before. And then
Yeah.
Mhm.
out of
Yeah.
all the working out and going to the gym, and then I'm for some reason like this 15 pounds don't go away and the 15 pounds turn to 20, and it's like you see your body changing before you see you can't do the things you used to do. So even if you feel okay, you recognize changes, and it's like, oh, I'm not always going to be young. Like
Right.
people will say that and people could tell you that, but your body doesn't know what that means at the time when people say, well, hey, you ain't gonna be young forever. Enjoy it while you got it. I'm like, man, whatever. Y'all just lazy. Y'all just don't want to get out there and
Right.
do. That's my mindset when I was 22, 23. But then
Mhm.
once I start feeling a certain time, like, so those are the first signs. And then the next signs is like um just people passing. So for instance, like say my grandparents, passed. My
Mhm.
my grandfather died in 95, 96. And then after a while you get to it, and then all of my grandparents passed, like dang. And then, 6, 7, 8, 10 years later, then you start looking like wow, now my parents are the same age that my grandparents were when they so then you
Mhm.
start seeing stuff. And then you start looking even with you and your children, like
Yeah.
I'm as old as I thought my parents were, like I'm 10 years older than they were when they had me. So you start putting all this together. So then
Uh-huh.
the whole scope of time starts, you
Yeah.
start being able to put it together. And you realize, like, oh, this cycle is moving. And just like my grandparents passed, and you see your parents getting older, you see yourself getting older, you like, yeah, this train is moving and it ain't gonna stop. So then that's
Yeah.
when reality kind of starts setting in. And people who I was out with my friend Chop for his birthday, and one of my stepsons, I seen him. He's 30 years old now. And
Right.
when I met him and his mother, he was when I came to Austin, he was 6 years old. And now he's
Mhm.
30, grown. Like I'm
Mhm.
like, dang,
Wow.
I'm really that. So anyway, just it's all those things. And then on top of that, this is a long answer. Then when you I guess where I'm from, people who are my age, they died, gangs, gun violence, something crazy like that. Then you start getting to a point, people dying of heart failure. They're dying of just start
Yeah.
dying of natural causes. You like,
Yeah.
Right.
God dang,
Right.
my cousin had
Right.
an aneurysm or something, like, dang, so it's like we
Yeah.
not even dying like violent. We just dying because the clock is starting to hit for some people, and it's gonna hit for more and more people. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's a long answer to say all of those things combined together, you start realizing that your time is you on the clock.
Yeah.
Do you think that you'll live a long life? How long do you think you'll go? If you could guess. Not how long do
I
you
thought I was
want
gonna
to
be a
go?
long
How
time
long
ago.
do you think you'll go?
Wow.
I know.
2065 to 70.
Okay.
Barring
Yeah.
nothing crazy happen, I don't try to,
Right.
jump in front of a
Right.
train trying to save a little bunny rabbit or something. I
Right.
always think, I always think I'm gonna die doing something that I probably it's gonna be sudden for me. That's what I always thought.
Oh
I be done
no.
jumped in and on a fight that I shouldn't help somebody.
Right.
I'm like, that's probably the way I'm gonna end up going out. But barring that, then 60, somewhere between 60 and 70. I don't see myself living longer than 70.
Really? Denise, what about you? How long do you think you'll
I
go?
can't say.
You don't even have an idea.
No,
I know, I really don't
it's
either. And I don't know.
it's way
You don't
too
want to say
younger
you
than
don't want.
it's way too young than I would like to say out loud.
You think so? Really? Okay.
I think it's like a fear of death that makes me think I'm gonna be younger.
It's gonna happen sooner than Okay, okay.
But there's life and death in the power of the tongue, so I wouldn't be older. I wouldn't be a grandma. Like I've always
Yeah,
pictured myself as a grandma, so that's what makes me be
yeah.
like, maybe. I always picture myself as a grandma. But that's my dream.
Right, right.
So
Right.
Yeah, so my great grandmother, my mom's grandma, she lived to be like 105, 106. And then my other paternal and maternal grandparents passed away from, environmental induced cancers. So it wasn't like they even got to live
Right.
till old age and see how long their body would fucking make it. It was cancer that took them out from smoking and fucking drinking. Even my mom's mom, she died from Alzheimer's, but she had it for a long time. But I think she was in her late 60s, pushing 70. My dad passed at 64. My mom's about to be 60. I think she just turned 69. She'll be 70 coming up. Fucking January. That makes me feel old. To know that my mom is 70 and my kid is 27 and I had my first kid at 18. My parents were like 34, 36. And now I'm about to be fucking 46. Like, it all just makes it feel like, where did the time go? But
yeah.
because I'm so old, and because my mom is so old, and because my kids are now so old, it makes me feel like I've got a lot more time still to go. Like, I don't
Yeah.
feel like I'm clocking out in my 50s. I don't feel like I'm clocking out in my 60s. Like, and I hope that I don't. I'm like you. I hope I get to be a grandparent. I hope I get to maybe even be a great grandparent. Like, I want to live. If I could live till I was 100, I would fucking be here for it. I would. But I don't know how I feel about when I think it's gonna happen either. I don't. I mean, I hope it's past 70. I would like to be past 70. I look at my mom at pushing 70, and in my mind, she's eternally 50. Like, she's not
Yeah.
70.
Right.
She doesn't look
Mhm.
70. She doesn't act 70. She doesn't do what 70-year-old
Right.
people like. 70 for us when we were young, 70 was fucking old.
Right. We swarming down.
Girl, it was like super granny. Like, my mom is on the back of a Harley. My mom's working. So I I don't identify. I don't know. I guess I just don't see oldness in people. I don't see old. I don't see old. I don't see worn. I don't see like. I just don't see it to feel like, oh, that's gonna be me. Like, but then I hear, people whose loved ones have passed away at fucking 53 from this and 56 from that. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, that's in 10 years.
That's
Like, oh my God, I'm
for
not
a black
ready. Like,
man,
no,
that's the reality. Shoot, I'm like,
I
you get out your 50s as a black man, you doing good.
I think, you know what? And I think that's one of the reasons why I live the life that I live,
My dad
very
literally
fucking guarded
my
and
dad is in
safe.
better shape than I am.
How old your dad?
If I am like 67, 68.
Okay, so our parents about this close to the same
He
age.
go,
Okay.
he just, yeah, he stay on the move. He get around. I
Ain't
forget
that crazy?
how old he is most of
67
the time
when
because
we were young. 67-year-olds were
he
not
always
spriteful.
My uncle's going to
right.
be 75 this
He,
year.
he get
Like
Wow.
my cousin was telling me this, and I was like,
Damn.
hold on. I was like, he
75.
moved. I mean, I don't picture 75 at all.
That's what I'm saying. My mom is eternally 50. Like,
Yeah.
it's not possible.
Yeah.
Is this mom's brother or dad's brother?
This is my mom's sister's husband, but
Okay. So how old is your mom? How old? Because your mom's kind of young, right?
My mom is just turned 61 this year.
Oh, okay. I thought she was in her 50s still. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
since
Just
she
got out of
changed
them,
her
but
life, she's just super youthful too. So I'm just like, to me, her energy doesn't give 60. So it's very
that part.
interesting. And it's either like I'm getting older, so I am viewing aging differently, or our parents and ourselves are choosing to age differently. So like how we live our lifestyles, what we do,
that
like
is true.
yeah.
And I haven't
We live
committed
in a
to
total
the
different
healthiest of
time and
lifestyle.
era than our grandparents and the era that they came from. Like,
They have
that's so interesting. Like,
Corey
I think
Powell
about like
says,
nursing homes. Huh?
I'm just reading real. Corey Powell says, "Do y'all do music reviews?" I would love to do a music review. If you got something you want us to do, to review, I love. People actually, because I used to do music a long time ago. People actually still they send me stuff, like they'll send me their music because they know I give real constructive. I give real constructive criticism. I'm not gonna tell you, oh, I like it or I don't like it. I will tell you technically how good it is, regardless if it's my flavor, but like I'll give you real feedback to if something is good or not, or why, or what's missing, or what could be done different, or if you're not being I give actual people send me stuff because they know I'm gonna actually give them something that they can use. So yeah, if you got something in mind, let us know. We do everything.
We've never done a music review before.
That'd be fun. And that was thinking, especially y'all been. That's a whole different topic. I ain't gonna get
Lord
into
knows we got a
Drake
plenty of
Kendrick stuff.
musicians.
We sure do.
We do. We know a lot of musicians. Shout out to our talented friends.
Sure do. A bunch of them. Oh, speaking of, I'm be in your neck of the woods this weekend, Nikki. For Blue birthday party. Blue birthday party. He doing some spoken word stuff. Well, he doing some type of.
I'm so busy in my life, so I'll be right here at the house. So you just let me know and walk on down. I guess that means I need to make like a peach cobbler or something if it's his birthday.
For sure.
He gonna ask.
Okay,
so do we get to our 3 questions for God?
Let's maybe we just gonna be stuck at that. What's your second question, Denise?
So I did pain. I would have to just ask the age-old question of like, what was it that you wanted us to do? Like, was there something that you had in mind with each person? Or were you just straight up like, I just feel like making something today? And then you just let it do whatever? Are we like a big art project to you? A science project to you? Like, was there a purpose in making us? And what was the purpose of us existing? Like, what are we supposed to do? Are we just supposed to eat and mate?
And die.
Die?
Right.
Was that the whole thing?
Is that it? Is that literally it? That's the whole thing? That's what we're here for?
Were we supposed to be
I was having this conversation.
Was it that simple?
Kind of sucks.
I had this conversation with somebody earlier this week, and that's fine. I was like, what if God, when you meet God, then God is like, yeah, y'all was trying to read way too far into that. It was just,
y'all
do whatever you want. Well, what did you mean with such and such? It's like, I don't.
You should have left better rules. You should have left less ambiguous rules, god dang it. No pun intended.
That's funny.
It's like, look, I left it open for you to interpret. It didn't have much of a meaning. Like, why did chicken cross the road? You ever figure that out?
To get to the other side. That's it.
So I like that.
it.
Remember earlier we had to answer from the perspective of God. I would love to hear y'all's perspective of God if you had to answer that question of like, what was the whole thing, bro? Like, why? Why did you make us? And what was our purpose?
So yeah, I remember when I came out with that movie, The Matrix. And in one of the final scenes in the last part of The Matrix, Agent Smith kept asking Mr. Anderson, why do you keep pursuing? Why do you just don't quit? Why don't you give up? And it's like, cause I choose to. And that's the same thing. I did it because I chose to. I gave you this life, so you'd have the opportunity to choose to make it what you wanted to make it.
Ooh.
So either you did or you didn't. It's up to you. And if you didn't, that's fine too.
Ooh. Ooh. That hit. Ooh, Nikki.
I feel like, for God to have created people, right? Or whatever it was that created us, there clearly had to be a reason. Regardless of what you believe or don't believe.
Jump in the first person. Jump in the first person, Nikki. Speak first person, God. Go ahead.
But that's what I'm saying. I gave you a job, right? I gave you a job. You either passed it or you failed it. It's one or the other. But there had to have been an absolute divine purpose for us being created. Be it we were supposed to save something, save the something. I don't know. But y'all were a last ditch effort to try to save the planet, save the universe, create systems so that we could survive, amongst environmental catastrophic disasters. But y'all fucked it up. Free will. Y'all fucked it
up. This is a really good topic. We can have various questions. We get to be God and speak as God.
We get to be God and speak as God.
Like this is God, an interview with God, and we get to be God and answer the questions. That'll be a good. That'll be a good.
Put that in the notebook. Put it in the notebook.
That would be
an interview with God.
I have an answer as God.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
I created you so that you all could have experiences, because at one point it was just a void and we were just a bunch of voices, but there was no experience because everything was dark. So I put you all in these little meat suits so that you can have an experience. And that was the purpose. And once you've had the experience, because you were curious and you wanted to not be in the void anymore, I'm going to send you back to the void. But I let you go because you said you wanted to go. So go, have your experience. Go do a thing. Go feel like you're creating, making, whatever. Like, go do something tangible. And that is why I made you, so that you can do your tangible thing. You actually made yourself because you requested it.
And golly, and that's why I invented poker too. You ever think
that's
about
why
that?
you invented poker?
Because I invented poker because the parallel is you really don't have much control over the hand that you're dealt, but you still have an opportunity to play them a certain way where you can win. In the end, you can no matter what hand you got, you still can win. So some people I put in different geographic areas. I put in different type of skin and different type of genders under different type of periods in time that had oppression and racism and genderism and sexism all in that. But you still got a hand. What you gonna do with it? And how are you gonna make the most out of it? How are you still? How are you still gonna be God in the midst of that situation?
What if we chose when we came? What if we saw the situation and was like, I don't know, I think I could help. Send me down there. Put me in the game, coach.
That's a crazy thought. But the only disclaimer is you're not going to have knowledge of you choosing this once you get down there.
All you have
What
is
if
that
we
inner knowing
oh
that
my
pulls
goodness.
on you, and you follow it, and that's
Oh
all
my
you have to
goodness.
on you, and you follow it, and that's all, and you
What
have
if
to
we all
trust
chose to
that.
put ourselves in these shells?
Put
I think
ourselves what?
In these shells, in this body.
Um,
I
I
chose
think it's a
when I
choice.
was in the void, how Denise put it. I said I want to be a black man that's born in the 80s, in a time post-racial, but still racial. I'm gonna make myself short, so I'm gonna have a complex that I have to get like I have a complex that I have to overcome. I want to be in a I don't know. Like it's like, all right, yeah, like, all right, we're gonna put you in this situation. Let's see how you it's just like some you ever seen where some I haven't seen it, but I heard about it. Like sometimes millionaires or billionaires will put themselves in an isolated situation with no money. And then they're like, okay, with nothing, can I recreate what I've already obtained?
Right.
Like what
Right.
Kanye did.
I'm not you the Kanye fan. I don't know what Kanye did.
What did he did? What did he do?
I have this theory that Kanye produces his best work when he's like in an underdog situation. So he creates underdog situations for himself.
Mm, right.
Oh yeah.
Sure. 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 Hmm.
You know what's crazy? I also think, like, I do think that we made a bunch of choices before we came, and I do think we just simply forgot. And I think, like, when Nikki, you're really big on what you eat, right? I do think that like, if we do look at it like from the aspect of the Matrix, I do think that there are little things that are coming to block us from being in
Oh,
tune
man.
with the thing that helps us remember why we're here. And so it's on us to do everything we can to stay centered, whatever that is: praying, meditating, eating healthier, exercising, drinking water, like praying
Sunshine.
for
Sunshine. Grounding.
all of those
Yep.
things,
Yep.
nature, things that are already here, like the things that are the best for us, or the things that are natural. And the more that we tune into nature and things that are natural for us,
Mhm.
the more in tune we are, the clearer we are, the better we are. We are superhumans when we are doing those things. So I think that all those other things, I think there are people who are living that way that know that, and intentionally throw those things at us to keep us from being connected with that thing that knows why we're here.
Why do you think that they put fluoride in everything?
What if
Why do
it's
you
just a
think?
burial? I mean, not a burial. What if it's just a barrier between the terrestrial and the celestial? So the barrier is the memories can't pass from one side to another. So like you said, we knew everything, and once we got over here, our awareness and its fullness doesn't come across. We got to come through as a baby. We got to do the process all over again. And just like we're on this side, but we don't really know what's on the other side. Maybe we do know, but we can't know while we're over here.
I think we do know, but the amount of work we can know, but the amount of work will require to get to the point of pulling on that thing, of like pulling down whatever that veil is to get through, to peek through. It's like being a sperm and trying to get through to that egg, and all the stuff you got to do to wiggle through to be that egg. I feel like life, once we're born, we're doing that again. Even like coming through the birth canal is doing that again. There's so much that can happen from the time you're conceived to the time you are born. So even
Mhm.
the point where you are born, much less being 36, 45, 50, like there's so much that has to happen in between that time. And everything, I feel like life is just getting to that egg. We're all just trying to constantly get back to the egg. And that's what death is. We're trying to get back to the egg.
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
if our fleshly body, and not just our fleshly body, but all the tangible fleshly things in this earth, is what blocks us from fully seeing our spirit man? So the more
Wait, what do you
we,
mean? Like our actual this? Or the
yes, the actual that and this laptop and everything physical that we associate with those things, that's our reality on this earth, but it also blocks us from fully understanding our spirit nature. So that even goes back to
I got something for that.
What Jesus told Nicodemus. You can't understand this unless you're born again. He's like, I can't go through my mother's womb again. No, that's that what is flesh is not what spirit is spirit. You need to be born in the spirit. So now you have a different set of eyes so that you don't operate purely or initially from fleshly and tangible things. You operate with a spiritual mind first. And once you learn to operate with a spiritual mind, then you'll see things completely different than you've experienced up until this point.
I agree with that. I think that's the importance of fasting, if you will, right? Because it is denying your flesh to do whatever.
Right. Oh, that's what I was gonna go to. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it's like your flesh will be like, I want to sleep all day. Like your body's gonna be like, I want to eat this crap that I shouldn't eat today. Like I want to be drunk every day of the week. Your body.
Have you ever fasted for an extended period of time? Have you ever fasted for an extended period of time?
I used to do a 7-day fast, not no food at all, but it would be a very strict like fast of things that I wouldn't. And then on top of the food fast, I would do a like life fast too, so that there would be no social media at all. I wouldn't even listen to music. Like I'm talking about, I would just shut it all down.
So let me ask you, because like when I refrain from food or something physically or naturally stimulate, because I've done what is the longest? I think I did 21 days straight, no food.
Ooh.
Either I was hallucinating or I was I could see God clearly. Like I could operate, and I was seeing in a way that I never even last year when I was that wasn't even
don't eat anything you like.
Fast, but right, when I didn't eat anything, and I also refrained from sugar, I refrained from all like.
You said I'm not eating anything like God was showing me
some stuff.
No.
Right, but see, but part of the whole purpose of fasting is not just about not eating or not do. It's about refraining from your fleshly desires so that you can hear more clearly spiritual. That's what fasting is all about. And you sure will hear something like, shoot, I was hearing and seeing all kind of stuff. That's crazy.
Yes, straight up. That is the truth. There was one fast that I had in 2017, actually, before I moved here. And I got so much clarity on that fast. There were so many things that I was experiencing that it does feel like almost like you're hallucinating, because it's like, again, all that stuff and this constant satisfaction of flesh, which is why I think that the flesh is always constantly under attack in some form or fashion, which is why we're always being sold something. Like someone who I worked with from Beirut, she told me that she never wanted to buy more than whenever she moved to America, that she almost feels a sense of guilt when she's not spending money. So I think we are constantly being sold something, whether it's to eat something, whether it's to buy something, but we're constantly being sold distraction of some sort. And that is what stops us from being connected, because we've all experienced that when we gave something up, there was a shift in our lives and our thinking and something. There was so much clarity. That's why I'm like, I have a hard time really committing to, I don't know if I want to ever fully just get back on social media. Like I've been on a little bit here and there. I've seen little stuff. I was telling Nikki earlier today, I made my month May 1st. And I'm like, I'm not missing anything. I'm literally missing nothing. One of my friends said, she's like, I like being the last to know something. And I was like, I love that.
Imagine that, right? Because for so long, it's been on demand, like literally 24/7.
Yep. And she said something so good to me, and made me miss, nothing has made me miss being a kid more than a statement. She was like, sometimes you just gotta like be bored. Like, when was the last time?
We don't know how to be bored anymore.
Yeah, we used to be bored back in the days. We would come up with so much fun stuff to do.
Right.
Being bored.
Yeah.
Yo, some of the best times came from being absolutely bored.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Best sports in the world. Yep.
I miss that.
Our family not being able to afford all of the board games that we seen on the commercials and stuff. Man, we came up with so many games. Me and my cousins came up so much.
Yep. And what's sad is that's gone. Like, you may have moments where your children are able to do some of those things, but for the most part, they've got a fucking tablet attached to them 24/7. So they're never going to be bored. Mm-hmm. Like, some kids have no idea how to just sit at a table without a fucking phone or a tablet. They can't, their attention span is completely gone. They're all, you know, the people, I see this a lot of times in like my mom's groups. They're talking about road trips and shit like that. They're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I got to get like 2, 3, 4 kids on a road trip. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like, God damn, are you serious? We grew up in the backseat of a car. What? Going from Minnesota to Texas 3, 4 fucking times a year. Like, I mean, I took my pink boot box and my Walkman with me, but I always had colors and paper and books and magically fucking made it. Like, it's crazy. It's funny that you say that though, Denise, because this week has been a really, I mean, it's only fucking Tuesday, but it's been a really tough week since Friday. It's been going through a lot of shit. And in good ways, right? Because everything happens for a reason. But I noticed, because I'm in a dark space, all I have done for like 2 days, I mean, I've done a little bit of shit here and there. I've gone to work, you know, I've gone to my cleans and stuff like that, but is be on this goddamn phone. And I really don't be on the phone like that. But these last couple days, I'm like, bitch, you are picking this phone up again? Like, literally, Sunday, I was like, it might be time to jump the fuck off for a little bit. Like, and you know, it's time, I think. And
so I think you sneaky how to play chess.
I would love to. But, you know, then I thought about like all the conversations that were taking place with the Kendrick and Drake thing. And it wasn't even about them as artists. It was about like obviously some of the shots that were being taken and some of the, for me, what I thought were the principles that were coming out about how Kendrick feels about Drake. And so then getting into those kind of discords with people, social media, it's almost like getting into arguments with racists during, you know, Black Lives Matter, and getting into arguments with racists during fucking police brutality incidents. And, you know, so it's just after like a weekend of fucking bombardment, plus my own personal shit with my kids and my family, I was like, get me the fuck off here. I was like, you're literally on this thing like it's crack. Like, this is stupid. So today, I made a conscious effort, like, just keep the fucking phone down and leave it alone. Just leave it alone. And every time we do this, I know you probably feel this too, you're so much more productive. So much more productive. And actually feel better. Like, you know, I've posted this, you know, I've kind of slapped it up there a couple of times, but like, your frequency fucking changes from sucked into the world of social media and the distraction that it's designed to do, right? Like, you get off of the social media, you put the fucking food down, like you start taking some of these toxic things out of your diet. And so you talked about feeling better. Like, that's the frequency changing. Ooh. You know, like when I took the meat out of my diet and took the milk out of my diet, like within the first 30 days of being vegan, it was like, who the fuck are you? This is the way that I felt. Was like, so you talk about the things that they make for us as consumers to keep us from tapping into that third eye, to keep us from channeling into whatever this God center may be, right? Mm-hmm. Like, all of those things add to that. And social media, it's a fucking drug. And anybody who thinks it's not is crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, yeah.
It changes your chemicals, it changes your brain waves, it changes your thought processes, it changes it changes your relationships with people. Yes. And, you know, we kind of talked about this last week in person. Like, yeah, social media is not real, but it is. Yeah. Like, it isn't, but it is. It's really, really real for some people.
Yeah. And like,
ooh, Nikki, that's the thing. It's really real for people who have set down or they've put away actual communication. So if social media is your only form of communication, then it's absolutely real to you. But for somebody like me who this is not how I communicate.
Right.
If I'm you're not if I'm close to you, you're not gonna get a Facebook happy birthday. I'm going to call you and I'm gonna tell you
Right.
happy birthday.
Right.
Like
Right.
I'm still, and that's one of the things that irks me. And even I add you into the lump, Nick, even though it ain't your fault, you be working and doing stuff. But like because we thinking of what we gonna come up. I don't do the whole back and forth. I'm gonna call you. And
Right.
then
And you
people
always
answer their
do. You
phone and it's
always
like,
do, Tim.
and I'm like, I don't
Like,
do
I'll
all that
send you my
texting
voice
back and forth.
message so I can let you know what I need you to know, and you call me whenever you're ready.
So even like, so there's if you've lost the art
Yeah.
of face to face or voice to voice communication, then you've lost something. And now you're using social media to replace that which was real.
Right.
And now you're taking those conversations as real conversations when it's a variance, but it's not, and people don't talk to you and respond to you the same way that they do in person. So it's not
Right.
so what like I'm rarely on social media. Like I do more just on free thinkers and high IQ and just podcasting. Like for me, social media might be some toilet stuff. I'm sitting on the toilet.
Right.
That's like,
Right.
and then
Right.
after I'm
Right.
done with that, I'm finished looking at. And most time I'm playing chess. I ain't even doing that. But you have to. But if you sit down, and that's why I keep talking about free thinkers. Real communication is so important. And if you don't, if you set the art of it down, like for instance, even if I got to drive to work or I'm driving home from work. That's 40 minutes. I got a 40-minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
I will look through my phone and I will call a person that I ain't spoke to in 3 or 4 years. I'm like, yo, your number in my phone. Let me see what's going on, because I'm not so scared of communication. I'm mastering the art of communication, and I find more value in actually speaking to people than just doing that social media stuff.
Right.
And I really feel bad for people who don't have the ability. And you talking about an introvert, shy person who, but I know the value in being able to gain life experiences from people and finding out what you've been up to for the last 5 years.
Wow.
And me being able
Right.
to tell you what I've been up to for the last 5 years. Like there's something in that. And if you're too scared to do it, then you lose a lot. That's everything to me. Just being able to make those tight connections, like people that I know, like y'all, and then even reaffirming connections with people that I hadn't spoke to, but I still have an affinity for. So it's like,
Right.
anyway, you understand what I'm saying?
Wow.
See, and it's interesting because I love the art of a conversation. Like I love to be on the phone, but I don't. Like you get in the car, you got a 40-minute drive. I get in the car, I got a 40-minute drive. It's either silent or it's music. And it is just, I actually
That's my
don't like
podcasting time too. I listen to other people's podcasts while
I do not like to be on the phone when I'm driving. I hate when people call me when I'm driving. I don't want to be interrupted. And I don't know if it's just because my life is filled with busy and so many people and their shit every day that it's like my only time to just decompress and not have to talk to anybody or think about you or think about how I can help you or think about a way to help whatever your situation is. Like I haven't gotten home yet, so I get to just not fucking think about dinner and kids and bills and rent and where am I gonna fucking live, and then like I just get to zone out while I'm driving. Like it bothers me to get on the phone when I'm in the car, but I also love when my phone rings. But I don't call. I don't like, and maybe that's I don't know why I'm like that, but and maybe I think sometimes now I've gotten to a place where I feel like because of social media, most of the stuff I do talk about. Like, it's already on social media. So, like, friends have seen this or that or this or that. So it's like, you don't want me to call you and just basically repeat the whole shit all over. You know, like I don't usually call people. But by God, if you call me, we could be on the phone for 7 hours if that's what you want to do. I'll pop up on you. We'll go out. We'll get something to eat. Like, I don't have to talk to you for 6 years. You let me know to show up with a shovel and a fucking shower curtain in the trunk. I'm on my way. But like, maybe I'm just not good at fostering daily relationships that require maintenance daily. I don't know if that makes me low maintenance. I don't know if that makes me not a good friend, but I'm not a call you talker kind of let's talk for hours and hours kind of person. I can do it in person.
So
do it
Fred
online.
says plus 99% of phone calls could be text messages. Fred, I would say 99% of text messages could be phone calls.
Yeah.
And the conversation of the phone call will go by much faster and
True.
it will be more productive. You'll learn a lot more. There'll be more interaction and more value in the call than it will be the text message. That's my thought.
Maybe I'm taking the cheap way out because I send voice messages. I'm like, I love voice messages. Voice notes are fucking amazing. And I think I do that
because... check my voice message. If you leave me a voice message, I might not check until a month later.
But that's gonna be on you, shit.
Voice
you do whatever you do.
or voice messages?
Like a voice,
like
the
like
voice
a voice
messages
text.
I
like
will,
I,
but
like I do you, like I did you today.
No, those are good. But if you call me and leave me a voicemail,
I do too.
You leave me a voicemail?
Like an actual phone voice message, no. But like the voice text message that I be sending all the time, those are the ones I'm talking about. Because I feel like, I don't know what's on your agenda. I can just tell you what I need to tell you, and then whenever you've got free time, then you just give me a holler whenever you're ready. Because I'm probably doing fucking nothing. So I can take your call anytime as long as I'm home and the kids are home from school. But like, if I can just communicate to you what I want, and I feel like the voice texts are better than text because you get to hear how a person is saying what they're saying. Yeah. So in my mind, I'm justifying the communication is a little bit better. But a phone call, I just feel like it's so obtrusive sometimes. Like, like
what?
I don't know. I did like for me to call somebody, I feel like it's intrusive.
No, if you my friend or I rock with you, then I'm my purpose is to be
intrusive. And of course, believe that 100%. Totally believe that 100%.
I want to step in. Not only do I want to step in, I want to hear the inflections in your voice. Because you can tell me everything good, but when I hear it, I'm like, I just heard what you said, but that ain't what I heard. What's going on? I can dig deeper and find out what's going on when I hear what you're saying versus you just texting me.
I think it's so much easier for us to hide our feelings through text, through social media, through all those things, like Q was saying, like I would call my grandma when my grandma was still alive, and I would be putting on my best, hey Granny. And then they'll let you get through maybe a few sentences before they ask
what's going on.
Right.
But that ain't even just your voice. They be in the spirits. They be knowing in the spirits. They ain't even just like
they might even call you first. But I think we hide how I feel like I'm not gonna say I'm gonna speak for myself. I feel like I am more prone to hide how I feel on a one-on-one. And I know if I get on a one-on-one, I'm going to be more prone to say what's going on versus like maybe in a more group setting. And then I'm always very conscious of what someone else may have going on. And I don't want to feel like I'm putting my whole dumping
on you.
Yeah. And
that's what I called you for. That's what I called you for.
Right.
It's your time to dump right now. I called you, so if you need to dump, then and then I also know everybody's not able to receive someone else just dumping or getting it out. So sometimes they can have friends that they talk to on a regular basis that they're closer to than me, but they don't know how to give them what they need at the time. Whether it's, I don't need your advice, I just need you to hear me. I just need you to like. There's different
Right.
levels.
Right.
So I want to give everybody opportunity just to be there, be present in the moment, and work this human experience with them.
But there's got to
Mm-hmm.
be boundaries too, right? Because I feel like I didn't have boundaries in my past. And so it's made me less prone to answer the phone because I was the friend that you dump on. And then once I realized
Mhm.
that the
Right.
dumping was affecting me in a way, and I think it's not just the dumping, it's the lack of reciprocation and the lack
Right.
of what's the word I'm looking for, where you're the lack of consideration too of dumping. It's like no
Right.
when you can. It's like, are you present enough
Mm-hmm.
for me as a human being to know where I'm at, to know if I'm even able to receive this right now? Are
So
you
you have
even,
the emotional bandwidth to take on my shit right now.
yeah,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
you
Absolutely.
know, there's
And
like
that's
a
something
Mm-hmm.
that has
time
to
and a
be
place.
built up over time. There was a lot of
Yeah.
time people, so I'd finish talking to certain people and I'd be drained. And it's kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
again, it's kind of like chess. If you ever play chess, when people start playing chess, if you play somebody that's good, after one game, 30, 45 minutes, even if you played a good game and it was close, your mind is so zapped because you're doing all of this thinking.
Mm,
Most people don't have a mental endurance when it comes to playing chess. Like you play one good game, it's almost like I understand this when I play pool. Like I can focus on one good game when I'm playing pool, and then by the second game, I don't have the mental stamina when it comes to pool. And by the second game, I'm just hitting the ball and it's going all over the place, and I can't focus long enough. It's something that you have to teach yourself. So mentally, when I first started playing, it was this guy who was better than me, learning how to play against him, and I had a good game against him, and we went down to the wire, and I think I beat him. I did beat him. And then he was like, "Oh man, let's run this back." We played again. I spent all of my brain power, like all of my brain power on the first game. And the second game, I'm making, he like, oh man, he was like, oh no. He's like, no, we just stop right now. You fake it. He didn't want to play that version of me because he already knew, like,
Mm-hmm.
the person that I played the game before is not the same person that I'm
It's
playing
not
now.
this
He
person.
was like, yeah, your brain is already tapped out. You can't, like, I just play you tomorrow because you tapped out. You can't go no more.
Wow. Sure.
So anyway, what I'm saying is there is a endurance that you can build up, and but part of it is endurance, and the other part is awareness of when you're hitting that limit. And
yeah.
then at certain times when I'm hitting that limit, hey, yeah, I ain't gonna. I text you, hey, I'm busy right now. I hit you back tomorrow. I'm gonna call you back when I got the bandwidth to actually deal with whatever
Right.
it is that you got for me.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, what I tell you, Denise, and I've said this to I don't know how many people. When it comes to reciprocation, the people do not expect the people that you pour into to be able to pour back into you. Those are rare occasions. There's
That's
out
true.
of all the friends I got, there's very few that we equally pour back into each other. So there's a lot
Really?
of people. Oh yes, absolutely. It's out of
Okay.
all the friends I got. I'm talking about my closest friends. It's
Sure.
only one or two that can actually pour back into me what I pour into them.
Mm,
So when you're talking about reciprocation, don't expect the people that you pour into to be able to pour back into you. I pour into people, and then I have different sets of people who are above me that have the bandwidth to pour into me. So as they're pouring into me, then that gives me what I need to pour back into other people. But it ain't the same people that I pour into that's able to pour back into me.
Hmm.
that's good. That's good.
Hmm.
That's good. Which kind of brings me to another like existential question, which is like, why do you all think that we need each other? Because we're here
Golly,
together.
that's a good. Hey, we got
So
5 minutes, Nikki, but go ahead. That's a good question.
as God, Nikki,
As
answer as
God,
God.
why? As God,
That's
why do we
deep.
need each other?
I ain't gonna even get to that one.
Because we just do. Because we just do. We function better as a unit. We just do. Um, which almost kind of takes me to what I posted in the comments earlier: is did God create us because they were lonely? So if they created us because they were lonely, then they knew that they needed people. They needed friends. They needed family. They needed other humans to fill this space of echo. So God created humans because we need each other, because we do. We see what happens when we don't have a community. We see what happens when we do have a community. Community doesn't have to be a huge thing. It could just be you and 3 people. It could be you and whatever your small village and tribe is, right? But like, we operate better. Like, our frequency rises collectively in the company of good people, other humans. So if we had a purpose for design, us connecting with the right people has to be part of that design. It has to be part of whatever the reason we were here, whatever we're here for. Together we're better. Together we're stronger. Together we're unified. Together we're banded. Like, together we can all go at the same time too, right? But like, together we're stronger. We're better. I don't know. But I definitely, as much as I like solitude, and as much as I think solitude is necessary for your journey, we still need people. We need each other. Fully believe that.
So, Denise, ask the question again. I think it's something.
Why do we need each other?
Why do we need each other?
Why do we need community?
Because she's you, he's you, you are him. You are all the same. You're God. She's God. He's God. You're all pieces. We took pieces and we broke them all up. You're all God. You're all made up of the same things. But you gravitate toward that piece to better understand who you are. You are peace in yourself. You are God. You are peace. She's God. She's a piece. She's God. She's a piece. You're all God. So that's why you're attracted to one another. But you're different pieces in a puzzle. And when you connect, then it helps you better understand. Understanding her helps you understand yourself. So that's why you all need each other. Because you're all made up of the same thing.
I had this visual of like all these pieces like molecularly coming together, and like they all function fine by themselves. But when that motherfucker gets all one big clump of stuff, just how much more impactful that is as a whole, as opposed to little soldiers all by themselves. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. That's interesting.
And if you see just in, I'm going from the actual analogy. If you see just one piece of a puzzle, you have a 500,000 piece puzzle. You see one small piece. And then you see other little separate pieces. You can tell it's all made up of the same wood. In some instances, you can see it's a part of the same puzzle. But until those pieces connect in the way that they're supposed to, then the picture doesn't become clear of what it really is.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh,
missing puzzle pieces.
And then when it all comes together, oh, it's a unicorn. Oh, it's the universe. Oh, it's a whatever the picture is. As a piece, we're all of the same makeup, but the picture doesn't become clear until we connect in the way that we're supposed
to. That's a good analogy for just life in general. We're walking puzzles with fucking missing puzzle pieces along this journey, trying to find our fucking puzzle pieces to complete the picture.
So it's time to check out. Then we want to see, that's what we're looking for: communication and understanding. We're looking to understand that goes back to our original, question as far as what the purpose is, and what they call the existential. What's your purpose?
What's your purpose?
Nikki, Denise, you are here in my life right now to help me understand my purpose.
Wow.
And
I
absent
believe
of
that.
you now, in the future, and in the past, absent of that, then there's voids that I may not, that I probably, and I already know there's things that I wouldn't have understood, and unless I would have learned some of the things that I learned from y'all.
Touche.
It's 1:30.
Touche.
All right.
Touche.
We
And that's
we
why
did
this
a full
will,
show.
that's why this will never, ever, ever get old to me. This will
I know.
never, I can never tire of free thinkers, you know, because of what I've learned as a person, as a woman, as everything, like from y'all being in these spaces, having these conversations. This is crazy. Like, you know, it's so funny how we were both tired starting this fucking conversation. And now I'm like, I'm not done. I'm like,
Hey, I told y'all about my timeline. All right, so
I know. You know, he's like, it's about to be done, y'all.
see how little these eyes is right now.
This conversation is gonna play in my brain for a while. Like, I'm gonna be thinking about this one tonight. Like, just the, you know, the yeah, you never know what you're gonna get with this shit, man. You never know what's gonna happen from free thinkers. Who knew that we would be answering for God tonight?
That's dope. That's dope.
That is.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of what did we say we were gonna call it? We're gonna
Existential questions.
no the answering the conversation with God or interview with God.
Oh, I don't know. We
Yeah,
gave it a
something
name,
like
but I
that.
like it.
Yeah,
Yes,
something like that.
yes.
That work.
I like it.
Absolutely.
Oh, matter
Yeah.
of fact, there is a I'll send y'all this. There is a audio book called Conversations with God
Yes.
that I listen to often. Have you ever listened to that?
Not the audio, but I know the book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty. That made me think different too.
Heather
Anyway.
said y'all had me tearing up on this one. Me too. I was like, so many times I was like, and then y'all got me at the end. Y'all got me at the end.
Last week, her first one. It was her first free thinkers in person.
Oh,
She
yeah,
came last week.
was. That was
Yep.
good.
Wow.
Yeah, she came last week.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
you never know. You
Faith
might
doesn't
cry,
mean-
you might laugh, you might get mad, all that shit in the same hour and a half. But you always think, no matter what you do walking out of this space, you definitely gonna think. You definitely gonna think. Well, so much for 30 minutes, but yeah, you want to wrap up?
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for listening, tuning in. Whenever you hear this, if you have any thoughts or input, then make sure you add it to the comment thread. Also, keep in mind that we are now meeting live in person last Tuesday of every month. So be on the lookout for that. That's a great time, great food, great conversation. It's pretty awesome. And as always, if you have any topic ideas, we're always open and willing to talk about them. If you haven't already, make sure you join the Facebook page. Most of you have. However, most of you who are on the Facebook have not joined to the YouTube page yet. So you see, there's a lot of changes. There's been a lot of changes the last few weeks with a lot of stuff. So you never know when, as Smack said, you have to pivot and you have to operate primarily from another platform. So just make sure that you are tuned in everywhere that we are so that you don't miss anything. But outside of that, great conversation. I appreciate it, y'all.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Denise. Thanks for y'all watching us, and we'll see y'all next Tuesday.
All right, good night.
Good night.